Good morning, good morning, good morning. The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, and you are breathing. Today is Wednesday, July the 5th, 2023. My name is Stephen Cornegay. Welcome to This Is Just a Thought. Today's word of the day, fulsome, which means abundant, full, and well developed. Folsom. Hope everyone is enjoying their Wednesday or will enjoy their Wednesday midweek swing. Midweek swing. And also, I hope everyone enjoyed their 4th of July yesterday. Man, fireworks, family gatherings, cookout, good eating, good conversation, good networking. Hope everyone enjoyed it. I had to work. I just did. I just did. You know, I was sitting here thinking before I started, I said, man, I've been doing this podcast going on 3 years now, and I can honestly say I have only had one Fourth of July off in almost 3 years. That's got to change. That's got to change. That's got to change. Like I always say, you got to take some time, man. You got to take some time for yourself and for your mental health. If nothing else, nothing else, just nothing else. So I hope everyone enjoyed their fourth, man. Um, Got off work last night. Like I've told you guys before, I work not too far from the Durham Bulls ballpark, the minor league team, and they have an annual fireworks display on the 4th. And, well, I skedaddled before that started. I just did. Traffic, traffic leaving those fireworks is unbearable. You know, uh, people they park in the parking lot where I work, and they walk across the street. There's a field, and we're not that far, like I said, from the ballpark, so you can just sit there and enjoy the fireworks. That's what a lot of families did. Hey, I've seen folks come out there with food and, of course, drinks, libations, and I gather everyone had a wonderful time. I hope they did. But yeah, I hauled you know what before those fireworks start because that traffic trying to get out of there, man, oh man, oh man, of Shepherds. it can be unbearable to say the least. But all in all, I gotta say, hey, I was fortunate and blessed enough to be working, so it really wasn't a big thing for me. I mean, I really would have enjoyed being off and seeing fireworks, but it wasn't a high priority on my list. Man, and also, wow, along with the 4th of July celebration, it looks like we've had a number, once again, of mass shootings from Baltimore, Philadelphia to Washington, D.C. Folks, what in the world is going on? How much anger do we have in us that we would just go out and some of the shootings they saying were targeted, and some that they're saying it may not have been. They're still investigating. But man, what in the world is going on? We can't even enjoy, have a celebration, enjoy ourselves without shooting the damn place up. Why? What in the world is going on with us as human beings in this country? Well, in this world, because as we all know, France is they're still rioting over there. Apparently, a police officer shot and killed a young man, and so protesters and well, let's just call them what they are, rioters, took to the streets to voice their dismay. I guess that's the new thing now. When you come upset about an issue, you take to the streets, you riot. What are you gonna do? That's the world we're living in. That's the world we're living in. So yeah, quite a few people, of course, lost their lives in these mass shootings this weekend here in the United States. But man, I believe they're saying the youngest victim was two, a toddler that was injured, wasn't killed, that was injured. What the world are you doing out shooting a gun off, knowing there's kids out there? A little bit over my head, way over my head. I've just, like I said before, I've just never gotten that upset with someone that I would go pick up a gun and just go out into the world on the streets and just start shooting. I don't want to beat the brakes off of them, but I've never gotten that upset. So hey, it's beyond me. It just is. It just is. It just is. All right, let's move along here, man. Hey, man, looks like COVID's in the news again. No, there's not another outbreak of COVID. Looks like the feds are looking for their money, those PPP loans. loans. Like I told you guys a couple of years back, a lot of people were getting those PPP loans and they didn't have any damn businesses. They didn't have no staff. They didn't have no business. They didn't have anything. Now we all remember the shutdown, the governmental shutdown around 2020, because that's what they're saying. They may have lost upwards of 200 billion total. May have been lost or wasted. Fraud, crooks. So they're saying it started. They're going back to 2020 when those shutdowns started, and they started handing out those PPP loans for these small businesses. A lot of businesses went under. Some were able to stay afloat, but that restaurant industry, man, it was torn to shreds. A lot of folks didn't make it. A lot of businesses didn't make it. Um, the hospitality and hotel industry, that was ripped to shreds also. Your little resorts along the beaches and the mountains, that was ripped to shreds. But what they're really horning in on looks like those fools that made those fraudulent claims and got that money and didn't have anything, didn't have a business, didn't even have an LLC, but they got the loans. So now the feds are coming back around and they want their money. 200 billion, they're saying. Wow. And that's them being modest. I got to say, it's probably more than that. Now, so far, they said they have recouped off of that modest estimation, I think, of 200 billion. They have recouped about 30 million, about 17%. The feds are coming. Hope you got your affairs in order. I would say I hope you got their money, but I know you ain't got their damn money. You know you don't have their money. So hey, like I always say, and I never understood it, but I mean, maybe this generation doesn't know, but for us Gen Xers, we know when the feds give you something, they always do loop back around and they want an account for their funds. They want to know what you did with it, what you spent it on, how you used it, how you did that, whatever. They want to know how your business is doing. A lot of folks ain't got the answers. Yeah, you fools took that damn money. You know good and well. Maybe, like I said, maybe you didn't. Maybe these millennials don't know. Feds ain't gonna give you nothing for free. They coming back around and they're looking. They want some answers. They want to know where their damn money's at, and they want to know right now. Good luck. Good luck is all I can tell you. Because if you ain't got them folks' money, oh, buddy. Well, I don't think they put you in jail. Do they still do that? Debtor's prison? I don't know. There may be a different form of, but if you're flat out convicted of fraud, especially with Fed money, wow, sucks to be you. Sucks to be you. Just does. Just does. All right, let's move along here. Also, man, hey, look, at my last podcast, I talked to you guys about a little politics that was going on here in Durham, North Carolina. I told you guys the mayor saying she's not going to seek re-election. She's going to spend more time uh, focusing and spending time with her family. Now, a city council member has came out and says she's not going to seek re-election. She's going to take her talents and networking and skills to the national stage. She's going to launch and stand by. Apparently, sounded kind of like she was saying, hey, she was going to be maybe a campaign manager or one of those part of one of those think tank groups when these candidates come out and want to run for election. She looks like she's going to be doing that now, getting out of the direct eye of public service, if I could say that. Well, looks like I said, looks like we're going to be going to the polls again. At least now we know we're going to have to find us a new mayor and a new city council member. And I misspoke in that last podcast. I said at the end of June they were supposed to have a meet and greet at this local restaurant here in Durham. I apologize. It's not. It wasn't the end of June. It's the end of July, July 30th, or the last day before the end of July. I'll be attending. I mean, I got to. It's like I always tell you guys. As far as your local election goes, get out, get involved, meet these candidates, see where they're stand. Just don't rely on them when they do their little debates or their campaign ads to think they're standing on something that they're really not. I think that's a good thing. I think every single one of us that vote should get out and meet these candidates. It's a lot different meeting and seeing someone face to face as opposed to looking at their ads or sitting around looking on TV at them debating. A lot of times, facial expression or conversation can tell the tale that those campaign ads can't. So if you're here in Durham, North Carolina, July 30th at the Motorco, you're going to be meeting or quite possibly meeting some, well, we know they're going to be city council hopefuls there. Maybe we'll see some mayoral hopefuls there also. It's like we're going back to the polls. Hey, the mayor, for whatever reason, she said, hey, I got to spend some time with my family. Um, like with most politics and politicians, it's a very difficult job. I know a lot of times you guys hear me on here and I'm sounding like I'm bashing, I'm talking trash about them or whatever, what have you. But I personally, me, there's no way in the world I could be a politician. I just couldn't. There's no way in the world. You're in the public eye way too much, and you're under so much scrutiny. I honestly believe she got in there and she realized, well, this is more than I can handle. It's very stressful, very demanding being a politician. Just is. So she said, hey, I'm going to spend some time with my family. Understandable. It's a 24-hour job, 7 days a week being a politician, especially being a mayor. City council, I'm not too, it's probably a, a equal, but being a mayor, it's got to be a daunting task. Being a mayor, governor, president, vice president, whatever, what have you, it's got to be a daunting task. It's got to be a 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You're on call. You ain't got no time off. So hey, we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Hey, breaking news. Well, looks like the White House. This weekend, the CIA is looking into this weekend because what they said was they found a plastic baggie with some white powdery substance, and when they tested it was Chi Chi. Don't forget the yayo. It was cocaine. Who's using in the White House? Oh man! Wow, a little plastic baggie of cocaine in the White House? Why? What do you know? Who's using it? I wonder. Yeah, they said, hey, the president wasn't there. He was away at Camp David enjoying the 4th of July weekend before he came back, to celebrate the 4th at the White House. Still does it's still coming. The details are still coming in. It's really they're not releasing too much information, no more than they just found a white baggie containing a white powdery substance. And of course, if you've been listening to the news, you know what's going on. There's been some white powdery substance have been sent to a lot of GOP officials. Where was that at? Was it somewhere here in the United States? And then they tested it. They said it was nothing. So when I first heard that there was a white powdery substance found in the White House, I said, "Oh wow, they go these nuts. What are they doing? Anthrax. We all remember the anthrax hoax. They won't anthrax this time. Chi, don't forget the yayo. Mm, 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 mm. Child, who is using in the White House? Maybe time will tell. Of course, folks are already they're already lining up. They just are, and hey, they've already horned in and targeted President Biden. They're saying, hey, maybe that's the reason why he stumbles and falls so much. Maybe that's the reason he always loses his spot. Let me see, where was I? Oh yeah. Wow. Keep you guys updated on that. Cocaine in the White House. I wonder who's using. Mm, mm, mm. It's a mess. That's a mess. That's a mess. All right. Let's go get it. Man, the woes continue uh, for the Biden administration and the Democratic Party. Last week, Man, Supreme Court was on one, weren't they? Started out Thursday. Thursday, they announced their decision on by 6-3 on affirmative action being used in college admissions as a result of a lawsuit that was filed targeting or horning in on Harvard and the University of North Carolina here in Chapel Hill. Uh, by a ruling of 6-3, the justices, the highest court in the land, says no more, no way, no how can race play a contributing factor into the admissions of students. Can't use someone race because they come from a minority group. It's all going to be on the merit or how you are performing academically. No more is it going to be how you're performing academically in your race. Because, hey, we all know that for a long while, that if you were from a certain race or certain economic background, it was harder for you to get into these big schools. I mean, hey, yeah, if you got a scholarship, full ride. As far as you just being academically gifted and applying and getting in, that was not a it was highly unlikely until affirmative action came about. And I honestly didn't know. It's maybe a naivete on my part. I didn't know. If I'm believing, or from what I read sometime last week, I think they said that affirmative action has been around about 50 years. So now, 50 years later, looks like the justices have spoken. The American people have spoken also. Because what they're saying is, according to a poll, that 52% approve of the decision on affirmative action, and 32% disapprove, with 16% say they don't know. So it looks like over half of America says, hey, they approve of that decision by the Supreme Court that race shouldn't play a factor at all in the admission to college. Now, what also they said is that 53% of Americans polled believe that the court rules on the basis of their partisanship, that what party they belong to when they make these decisions. They're saying, hey, it's a political thing. And mirrors 52% approve, and it looks like a little bit over half of the others say, hey, it's all politics. It's not based on justice. And 33% believe rulings are based on the law, with 14% saying they don't know. So, I mean, hey, it's kind of, I guess what they're saying is kind of close as the approval. 52% approve, 53% believe that when the high court makes a ruling, it's based off of their political affiliation. It's true. Now, with that 33% believing it's based on the law, mm, maybe. I mean, if you're in the majority, uh, like the Republican Party is, you can get these laws passed. You can get these rulings and the decisions passed. And when you're on the minority, like the Democratic Party is, can't do squat. What are you going to do? So the High Court ruled and said, "Hey, no way, no more, no more." Now that has of course spurred a debate that many African Americans are saying, "Hey, if they don't want your kids going to these top prominent schools, send your kids to historically black colleges." So for those of you out there that has said in the past, because I've heard it quite a bit, what's the need? What's the purpose for historically black colleges? There you go. Crazy as it sounds, there still is a need for historically black colleges. Now we know. Just do. Just do. So that was Thursday. A lot of folks are upset, and maybe rightfully so. Like I said, I didn't know affirmative action has been around that long. Like I said, 50 years or more. I just didn't know that. I mean, hey, I think at one point in time there was a need for affirmative action. We all know. We can't deny that. We just can't. At one point in time, yeah, there was. Um, is it needed now? Yeah. Hey, this America ain't great, but they're obviously, and I hate to put it out here like that. There's always going to be a problem. We're always going to be dealing with race. We're always going to be dealing with race because we're human beings. We have faults. We have certain prejudices that we have. We just do. So we're always going to be dealing with race. I wish we could all come together, hold hands, and stand in a circle and sing "Kumbaya," but that ain't gonna happen. We're all, whether we like it or not, or whether we want to admit it or not, as much as we say we're all one, we're all our own individual being, and we all have prejudices. We just do. I got a few. I do. I mean, I'm not one to just blurt out and start rambling on and on and say, I don't like this group of people. I don't like that person. I don't like, I don't do that. But yeah, we all have prejudices. We all say and do little, say little slights directed at one, a certain race. We just do. Um, that's a fallacy for us as human beings. I don't know how or where it started, but it is. So, do I think that there is a need for affirmative action? Yeah, because what they're saying also with this ruling for this college admission is that this could trickle down into the workplace. The quotas that has been talked about over the years. You got to hire a certain amount of black people for this, or a certain amount of women for this, black women or white women or Asian women or Hispanic women, because that's what affirmative action has now. It now entails, and it entails everyone. It's not just black folks anymore. And that has been another debate, how affirmative action now encompasses so many minorities, not just blacks. So, hey, the quotas of race hiring, will this ruling trickle down into the workplace? Because we all know, like I said, with those quotas, if you wanted governmental contracts, the government would come in and they will look and say, how many minorities do you have? How many black men? How many black women? How many white women? How many Asian? How many Hispanic? Yada, yada, yada. The list goes on and on and on. Yeah, it's going to trickle down into the workplace also. Just is. Just is. It's just one of those things. Hey, this year it was affirmative action in college admissions. Last year it was abortion rights. Looks like the GOP is right on path. Just are. Uh, moving on to Friday, it's a continuation for the Democrats. They were losing. They lost. They lost because Friday, man, Supreme Court came back with two more, two piece. It ruled in favor of a website developer that came out and said, "Hey, I refuse to build websites for those of the LGBTQ community." Supreme Court came by ruling of 63 once again and said, "Hey, that's her right." Kind of call a little flack because what they're saying is that website developer, she never got approached by anyone of the LGBTQ community. So the liberals are saying, well, why was her lawsuit? Why did she even bring up a lawsuit? Maybe she was preparing for what was coming down the road, and she felt the need to go before the Supreme Court as an independent entrepreneur, and they ruled in her favor. Now, the ruling under the First Amendment has said all persons are free to think and speak as they wish, not as the government demands. So they say they took the government out of it. They say, hey, this is an independent person, an entrepreneur, and there are many more like her. And if they don't want to do something towards a certain group, they now have the right to. without fear of being sued. Mm, mm, mm. I always say the government needs to stay out of folks' business, and they do. Uh, like I said, many Democrats are questioning. They're saying, "Hey, this lady was never approached by anyone of the LGBTQ plus community. Why did she go? How did she get before the Supreme Court?" Well, it's obvious. Maybe her, whoever was behind her, or more people were saying, "Hey, we got to get out in front of this," because we all know those saying they're trying to take the rights of regular people to force them to accept that LGBTQ community. So, for whatever reason, somehow, some way, her case made it to the Supreme Court, and they ruled in her favor by 6-3. Mm, 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 mm. Well, the Supreme Court was on one, weren't they? They were on one. What in the world? Hey, when you elect certain officials, now those Supreme Court justices, they aren't elected, but they are appointed by those people you elect. They just are. This goes back to what I always tell people, what I'm always screaming and hollering on this podcast about: be mindful of who you put in office. And it's not just the Congress or the House, it's your local elections also. That's why I told you guys, hey, July 31st, if you're here in Durham, go meet those hopefuls. See where they stand on issues that directly affect you, not a national, but local. Because all of this started locally and now it's nationally. Look, the highest court in the land just alone in a 2-day span shook everything up, shook a lot of folks' foundation. Started, like I said, started last year with the abortion ban. And that's a still ongoing fight state by state. That's pretty much what they said last year. They said, hey, federally, we ain't got nothing to do with this. We're going to leave this to the states. And now those elected officials that you put in office locally, state house, your congressional representatives, pretty much putting a halt to abortion, putting term limits on. So for all of you that say I don't vote, or I ain't gonna vote locally, there's nothing I do for the president. Look what you've done. So what are you gonna do? Wrap back around 2024 and take this great stand? And too little, too late. It's politics. Like I said, I've been screaming and hollering for the better part of 3 years about local elections. They set the tone nationally. And like I said, in 2 days, the U.S. Supreme Court. See where I'm going? You see where I'm at? You see where we are at? So yeah, buddy. Mm, mm, mm. Now this next one, I never fully got the understanding of it. It seemed, at bare minimum to me, it seemed idiotic. It was obviously just a political ploy to get elected by the president, because the U.S. Supreme Court came down again 6-3 in favor of striking down President Joe Biden and the White House and the Democratic Party's initiative to forgive student loans. Came out 6-3 and said, no way, no how. You can't just suspend student loans. They took the loans out. So you need to pay it back. Tough. Now I know that a lot of folks have taken out student loans to go to college. And that bill and burden, man, I see it every day. Working with folks. Know some folks that are working to try to pay off their student loans. Know some folks that are in college now that have taken loans out, and they're saying, hey man, I'm getting ready to graduate and I got to figure out a way to pay that student loan back. I get it, got it, understand it. Now, what they're saying is, on an average, 95% of Americans still owe on their student loans 20 years after applying for it. Yeah, probably 20 or more years. And I understand the president's pitch that, hey, these young Americans, they take out these student loans to get a college degree so they can have the job, the career of their choice. And what they do is they're ending up in poverty or borderline poverty, trying to pay the loan back. They can't, get the home loans they need because they got to pay that student loan back. That's an astronomical bill. Get it, got it, understand it. Now, the decision that Justice John Roberts wrote a statement. He said on the ruling, the government needed direct authorization from Congress. So he kicked it back to Congress. He said, hey, if you want to forgive these student loans, you need to run this through Congress. And then, hey, he said the question here is not whether something should be done, it's who has the authority to do it. So Justice Roberts came out and said, hey, it this is a question of, can we rule like this without everything going through through Congress? Uh, Man, come on, that was just a political ploy. That was just politics. There's no way in the world you can tell the American people that you're going to forgive a loan for another set of American folks who took this loan out and got this education. There's no way in the world you could convince the American public. I'm sorry, whether it goes through Congress, the House, or whatever, yada yada, whatever. There's no way in the world the American folks are going to go for that. Not as hard as they struggle to stay afloat. Uh, Great political ploy, but no, there's no way. There's no way in the world you can convince the American public that, hey, you're gonna oh, excuse me, you're gonna forgive these student loans to a portion or to an extent, and then also tell the American people, hey, you're going to have to pick up the slack because it won't bankrupt the country, which I hear a lot of politicians saying. It won't bankrupt the company, the country, but it'll damn sure kick it into you know what. If you're telling me 95% of Americans are still paying back a student loan after 20 years after graduating college, that's a lot of money that you're going to forgive. And what about these institutions that granted these loans? How are they going to stay afloat? Uh, like I keep saying, it was great political ploy. Just was. I mean, hey, if I had taken out a student loan, I would have been ecstatic. Yeah, forgive the loan. I'm not smacking anyone in the face that took out a student loan, but come on now, think about it. If you took out that student loan, it kind of sounds like, if you think about it, if you took out that student loan and they're saying 95% of Americans are still paying it back 20 years later, and now you're out here in the world working and being productive and contributing to society. On one hand, they're going to forgive your loan, and the other hand, you're going to have to pick up the slack and put some money elsewhere. Because that's been a talking point for many Republicans. They're saying, hey, if you're saying to these people, because it's not just those that are graduating with bachelor's degrees, it's not the 4 year students. They're saying forgive the student loans for those that have masters, doctorals, uh, you name it, that are now in these high paying, high yielding jobs. So if you forgive the loan and you're out here contributing in society, putting money back in the economy, you're going to be kicking yourself in the you know what twice. Sounds odd, sounds crazy, but hey, somebody's got to pay some way, somehow. These institutions that gave these loans, what are they going to do? They're going to stop giving out loans now? Everybody just goes to college for free? Sounds crazy, I know. But, I mean, is it not feasible to think that, hey, if you're saying forgive student loans, for those that couldn't pay. But the rest of you have to pick up the slack because these lending institutions, they got to get their funds somehow, some way. Just like the government, like I told you earlier about that COVID relief, those PPP loans, those that give them out, they got to get their money back. So these lending institutions that gave out these student loans, they're looking like, no, uh, when are we supposed to get our money back again? Yeah, the U.S. Supreme Court was on one last week, sent us into the 4th of July holiday, looking around like, well, what in the world just happened? There's your American independence. Hey, don't don't shoot me. I'm just the messenger. I'm just the messenger, man. Don't shoot me. Don't shoot me. Don't shoot me. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going and skedaddle. Um, Certainly is a different time we're living in. And with those rulings with the U.S. Supreme Court, those three major rulings with affirmative action for college admission and race, and the ruling as it relates to paying back these student loans, and that ruling for that LGBTQ community. Huh. 2024 elections going to be interesting all over again. I thought that the previous 2020 was interesting. Man, looks like this going to be interesting too. We got to see where these politicians stand. Like I said, once again, get out there locally, see where these politicians stand. You can tell a lot about a person face to face interaction as opposed to seeing them on TV all dolled up. Look at their facial expression. Look at their posture. Look how they appear when they say certain things. Some folks are just that good they can two-step around it and they can pull it off. And some folks ain't. That's why I always say, hey, these local elections, be more active. Go out to these little community events when they announce, hey, we're going to have a community event, a meet and greet, or we're going to have a what do they call it, a town hall discussion. Go to these events and see where these people really and truly stand. Can't hurt. A lot of folks are hurt now after these three rulings. Mm, 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 mm. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Well, that's all for me today, and I want to thank you all for lending me your ears this morning. Continue to like, support, share Anchor, offer feedback. It has a great feature where you can leave a voice response. And on YouTube, hey, hop in that comment section. Let me know what y'all think about these three Supreme Court rulings this weekend, this past week, right at the end of the week, setting us into the 4th of July weekend. Thinking, a lot of folks are thinking and scratching their heads. So offer feedback. You can also make monetary contributions. Continue to follow and listen on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Verbal, WordPress, and on YouTube. And as always, thank you for listening. I keep you guys updated on that White House and that powdery substance. My name is Stephen Cornegay. Thank you for listening. This is Just a Thought. Amen. Cheat, yeah, yo.